Okay, hello, check. That's working. I'm gonna move this over here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Gotta get more comfortable. This is going really well. Oh my god. I'm still in my pajamas and I'm gonna practice yoga in my pajamas because like it's snowing outside really hard and there's a pandemic and I'm just like, well, what am I gonna get dressed for? Where am I gonna go? But to all the YouTube bots that are out scouring my page to make sure that I am clothed, don't worry, I'm totally wearing shorts. So it's officially not naked. Hi everyone, my name is Willow and I'm here today to go over a solo Valentine yoga practice. I've got some notes over here on my whiteboard. So who am I and what are we even doing and what is this? Well, long story short, I founded this company called Naked in Motion, and before the pandemic we had classes, naked yoga and Pilates classes in New York, Boston, and Seattle. And now we are sort of on pause for that. We are still continuing with our online practice though, so you can check out, there's a link in our description at patreon.com/nakedinmotion. On there I do naked yoga video tutorials and private lessons and live stream classes and special workshops and things like that. Speaking of special workshop, so today I put this class together because I wanted to create a solo version of what we're about to do tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm teaching a naked partners yoga class for Valentine's Day at 12 p.m. Pacific time. That'll be on our Patreon, so you can check that out. Yeah. Okay, so, but here we're, for those of you who are like very blah about Valentine's Day, or, we're just here practicing yoga, Valentine's Day be damned. It doesn't even need to be about that at all. But, while the rest of the world is celebrating love of others, I figure it might be a good time to focus on the love of self. We'll get into that in just a moment because I have some thoughts. Okay, so this is, I already said that. If you are working with any injuries, please prioritize the advice of your physicians and physical therapists over mine. Everything that I say is just a suggestion, so you can feel free to alter or change these postures in any way you know you need to or have been advised to. You can skip things whenever you want. You can take breaks. You can make things more challenging or do any other variation without my cueing. So this is I'm just the guide. I'm just showing you some options. And also, this is an open level class, so I will show several options. In particular, we're gonna make use of props a lot today, which the wall is our friend today. I have two walls here. I'm very lucky. I have a corner practice, but I would love for you all to get situated close to a wall. So take down if you're decorator and your walls are covered in paintings, maybe take those down. And just have your mat up against a wall. And I'm going to use both of my walls here, but you can just sort of adjust accordingly, and you don't have to have two. Yeah, the wall is our friend today. Other things we'll need, I have 3 pillows that will come in handy later. A yoga strap if you've got it. However, if you, because we'll use this for a bow later, but if you don't have this, where's my towel? It's like, oh, it's right down here. You can also use an extra towel for the strap instead. Also, speaking of towels, we will need towels, so have at least one thicker, cozier towel. If you have blocks, cool, but really focusing on the chairs. So you'll definitely need a chair for some things later on. So you don't have to have all the normal yoga props. You more just like, we'll use things that you probably just have lying around your house, like a wall. So, okay. What else was I talking about? We shall start this a little differently today. This is a bit of an unusual practice. And I think have I already said everything I was going to say? Yeah, by the way, just so you know with timing, oh my gosh, I feel like that was the shortest intro I've ever done. Okay, we'll be here. It is 12 o'clock my time, Pacific, so we'll be here until about 1:30, maybe a little bit before Pacific time. So usually like a 75-minute class-ish for this. But if you need to leave early, that's okay. You can always come back later and watch the replay of this. So here's the thing. about love and self-love. So especially in the world of body positivity, there's often this concept of self-love and showing your body love or this kind of thing. And I'm talking about this just because it's topical, but I would like to encourage us all today to show love to ourselves, not by trying to force ourselves to feel any particular way about ourselves or about our bodies, but just by creating space for ourselves exactly as we are in this moment, even if we're not feeling so self-loving. So even if we're struggling with some negative thoughts about ourselves, or even if you're feeling kind of down or grumpy or really whatever it is, there's you can still practice self-love and care for yourself by making space for whatever is. And the concept of self-love isn't something that has to be felt. That's a lot to ask. It's like, love your body. Well, geez, that's like so hard in our society, where there's diet culture and really weird, messed up standards of beauty, especially for women. So yeah, that can be a lot to ask and a lot to unpack and take many years of therapy. So that's a big ask. We're not going to ask ourselves to love ourselves today, as in have loving thoughts about ourselves. So you might look into your belly at some point during class and be like, I don't like my belly, or I don't like my thighs, or I'm noticing cellulite here, or hair here, or whatever. We can have still all of those thoughts, and we'll just accept them, and we'll show ourselves love anyway. We'll behave in a way that is reflective of our values. And today the value that I present is this self-love and taking care of ourselves. Without a partner, because some of you might be in quarantine without a person who can do partner yoga with you, and also because we can do this without one. We don't need anyone else. I'd first like to start out a little non-traditionally with a self-massage. So this is going to be, I should mention, so by the way, if you want to practice this class in the nude, you can. I'm doing not naked classes on YouTube because they're free and because YouTube likes to shut me down because of even using the word naked, so I have to be careful. But you can feel free to practice this nude, but there's no pressure, and people who practice naked yoga aren't like more evolved than people who don't. So if you want to maybe take your time or shed a layer here or there, whatever. If you're wearing sweatpants because it's very cold, I understand. Okay, self-massages. So we're starting with the feet, working up one leg, then the other leg, then getting into the other extremities, so like the arms, and then the head, but not the face, because we can't touch our faces right now because it's pandemic, and the CDC says wash your hands before you. So if you want to massage your face when it comes time, you feel free to, sanitize. I recommend sanitizing first. Let's be responsible today, friends. Okay, so this is an exercise in attention on yourself. So here I've got my foot, my right foot, and I'm just giving it a little massage. You don't have to press very hard. Maybe you just rub the skin a little, or if you're more into deep tissue type stuff, whatever. But as you massage, watch what your foot looks like, watch what your hands look like. Maybe you can see if you notice something that you've never noticed about your foot before. And obviously, no need to push it, so making sure that we're doing this self-massage in a way that feels comfortable. And then when you start thinking about other things, that's okay. This is kind of a meditative practice, this self-massage. So we'll just refocus, noticing what you're massaging. So notice your whatever, okay, I'm gonna move on to the ankle. So let's move up the ankle. And we're not gonna be here for a very long time, so it's not gonna be the most, detail-oriented massage. It's more just trying to wake up the muscles and be like, hello, ye friends, I am here, and we are gonna do some fun stuff. Got the calf. And again, notice what you're looking at. I'm working up to the right other part of the leg. What is this called? Oh my gosh, I blank sometimes really bad. Quad. So I've got my quads, my hamstrings. Just squeeze, give it a little bit of a, maybe you want to get into the hip a little bit. Hello, gluteus medius. It's morning. So you try the other leg whenever you're ready. Starting again just from the left foot, sitting however is comfortable. Notice as you're massaging. Pay attention. Notice the sensations that you feel as you're giving yourself this little massage, not just what it looks like. So yeah, maybe you will notice something that you've never seen before on your foot, like, wow, why are my feet randomly very purple and blue today? I'm not sure. But also, how does it feel when you're pressing on the arch of your foot? Sort of staying present with these sensations. And I'm moving up around the ankle / calf situation. And I'm moving up to my thigh. Wake up! Blah. I'm getting into the hip. Moving into the lower back. So you might just take your hands on your lower back and just give a little bit of a push on either side of the spine, not pressing on the bone per se, but just the muscles on either side. And you can't quite see it back there, of course, but again, noticing how it feels. How this feels. By the way, I'm working on ASL. In case you hadn't, I forgot to mention that I'm working on sign language, so I'm going to sign randomly throughout this as best I can. And then I don't want to, I think some people sometimes like to massage the belly, but I don't know, there's just like a lot of organs in there and I kind of don't want to mess with that. So I'm going to go up to my, actually I'm going to go to my right side so we're consistent, my right shoulder. So if you take your left hand across, this is my favorite thing, little shoulder massage. Notice how this feels. Now, stay present with it. And I'll stop talking so much so you can actually do that. Like, Willow, shut up. Okay, I got it. And I'm moving out to the deltoid, the outer shoulder area. And I'm moving down the arm to the bicep and tricep. The forearm. Especially if we're typing on a computer, this right here, whew. Maybe you move into the right hand, so you're taking one hand to massage the other. Whatever parts of the hands feels good, so maybe the part in the middle between the thumb and the index here on the palm, or you can also go up and down to the ends of the fingers, give them a squeeze. Little fingers, wake up. We're about to do some yoga. Actually, we're doing it right now, so. We'll try the other side, so now I'm taking my right hand to my top left shoulder and giving it a massage. It'd be nice if this was the only thing we had to do during class today. Which technically you can. If you just want to sit there and massage your shoulders for the rest of this class, I support you. Hands to the shoulder, maybe we can work down to the the deltoid, and then of course down to the bicep, tricep area, upper arm. Down to the lower arm. The forearm here, where we type. All these muscles for our hands are actually all up in here. Now we move on down to the hand. Hello. All the way down to the fingers. Moving on to the back of the neck. So you might just take your hands on either side of the neck spine and give a little press. Back of the neck. You can also maybe get into the sides of the neck too, as long as you're comfortable. Typically I do a face massage here, but again, we're gonna skip that for today unless you wanna get a little pump of hand sanitizer and massage out the jaw, etc. Feel free. I'm instead gonna move on to my ears. That doesn't count, right? Totally. Give a little tug on the ears. There's muscles here that connect to the jaw, so sometimes it feels good to just pull down and out on them a little bit, very gently. And then the top of the head. Just give it a little bit of a rub. It's okay if you mess up your hair. Massage the scalp. Okay, whenever you're ready, feel free to stop and let's have a seat. I'm gonna sit up on my block. This is my preferred way of sitting, but you can sit crisscross applesauce as well, like something like this, or option to sit in a chair as well. And as we sit here to do our opening meditation, I invite you to lengthen the spine, sitting up tall but comfortably, if you can. If this hurts your back or anything like that, or your knee, you can just lay down on your back as well as another option. I invite you to settle into your seat, maybe into some stillness. Option to close the eyes or keep them open, but look maybe down on a low angle, somewhere that isn't a moving thing. So as I mentioned, I invite you to make space for yourself no matter what's coming up. Lots of things that you might notice about your experience right now in this present moment. For example, maybe you notice sensations in the body. We woke it up, we gave it some massage. Maybe you notice any sensations. They might be positive, they might be less positive. Whatever you notice. If you're not embarrassed to call this out loud, or I don't know wherever you are in your space, but sometimes I find it helpful to say out loud whatever it is, just naming it, practice of naming what it is. So, my shoulders are tight. So we'll just say it exactly as it is, and not really giving any judgment to it or trying to change it. So don't try to change it. Just sort of be with yourself exactly as you are. I offered you to settle into stillness before, but maybe you find that you have a muscle spasm or twitching in the eye or something, sort of spasms like this or something. That's okay, just noticing that as well. As you spend some time noticing sensations in the body, I invite you to let go of the struggle with these sensations. So again, all we're doing is noticing how the body feels. But not trying to change anything, letting go of this struggle, not trying to make ourselves be any other particular way. Lastly here, as we're noticing what's going on with the body, I invite you to, if you notice parts of the body that are maybe not so happy, maybe my shoulders are tight or your knee is bothering you, I invite you to send some compassion to those parts of your body. So treating our muscles and our bones like friends, like external things, and sending some compassion. I'm so sorry that you are so tight, neck and shoulders. I notice because you're real stressed. Sometimes being kind and showing compassion to your knee might mean that you switch positions. If you're noticing something maybe more positive though, or maybe more neutral, maybe you feel excited or your muscles feel very relaxed or awakened, you might just relish in that feeling. It's okay if the way you feel makes you happy. It's okay to express that happiness too. I feel good right now. Amazing. Also, if you don't feel good right now, that's okay. The next thing we might think about are the feelings. So how are you feeling now, today? Again, naming these things out loud if you're comfortable. No particular judgment. I feel like... how do I feel? I feel anxious. Let's just go with that, because it's usually true. So I feel anxious, or I feel sad, I feel angry. We show our self-love by making space for those feelings and not trying to change them in any way. I invite you to let go of the struggle with whatever you're feeling. Just letting it be there. If you're going through a hard time right now, you might send some compassion to yourself. Dear self, being sad is hard. I'm so sorry that you're feeling that way. I'm going to be really nice to you today. Something like that. If you're feeling really happy or excited or energetic, great. You might relish in those thoughts. Just savor them up. Just drink them in. Because opportunities where we feel awesome are worth celebrating and stopping to notice. Lastly, we might notice what you're thinking about. So again, you don't have to be thinking any particular things. You might be thinking, I really want some Oreos, or I want to binge watch TV all day, or whatever it is, literally whatever it is. Those are a lot more neutral statements, but you might be thinking angry thoughts, grumpy thoughts. You might be having negative thoughts about your body or someone else. That's okay, they're just thoughts. So notice, but no need to change these thoughts. You might name them out loud, like we did our feelings and our sensations. So you might say, my thoughts are very stressful and busy right now and hectic. Or, it's a sad, slow-moving place in there. Whatever. I'm ruminating over this, or I'm thinking about that. So as we gently let that go, I offer you to start to slow down your breathing. I invite you to notice your breathing. Where do you feel the breath moving in the body? So maybe like in the belly, chest, back. I've been doing this thing lately where I'm rocking side to side while I'm sitting and breathing. I don't know why. It's comforting. It's kind of like a rocker, like a rocking chair, but not quite. So I don't know if you want to try this. Give it a go. I find it soothing. Other things you might try is to place the hands over the heart on the chest. If you're comfortable with one hand over your belly, you might do that as well. You might even take this opportunity to literally give yourself a hug. So just wrap your arms around yourself. Oh, big hug. As you let your arms go, feel free to go back to either the hands on the chest and or belly, or just resting the arms down. Option to breathe together with me a little more slowly. So just take a normal breath in. And then a big deep breath out. Big breath in. And a slow breath out. You keep going. If yours are more slow or more quickly than mine, that's okay. Just an option. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. Breathing out. I like to hum as I exhale. So you might try this with me. Inhale. Exhale. Two more of whatever you're doing. Inhale. Good. Okay, feel free to let that come to a close. I'll meet you in child's pose, friends. So just transitioning so that you're back onto your knees, assuming this is comfortable. Hips back on your heels, lowering your chest down, feet maybe together and knees probably apart, and the arms could lower forward or back. Option to also just flip over and lay down into your back and hug your knees into your chest. So for today's child's pose, I'll actually invite just a wee bit more comfort, because why not? So today's child's pose, I'm gonna go full on out. I'm gonna use this giant stack of pillows, actually, 3 pillows. And if I put them between my knees here and drape my belly and chest over it, and I put my head down and I let my arms just drape down, and I could stay here for many moons. This is very cozy. Another option, you might also put one of these pillows, could go like between your hips and your heels, especially if they don't quite touch. Something like this. You could also use blocks and put a block under your head instead. Really whatever is interesting to you today. Whatever makes you feel held and supported. So feel free to stay as you are, just breathing. Roughly like a minute-ish. Minute. You could stay. You also might start to slow down the breath. Maybe take fuller breaths. If you'd like to stay here a little longer, I do not blame you, and I empower you to do so. However, just for the sake of time, I'm going to move my stack of pillows off to the side and move on onto hands and knees for cat and cow. So whenever you're ready, and feel free to put a towel or something underneath your knees if you need a little bit of cushion. So once you have your shoulders more or less over your wrists, hips more or less over your knees, feel free to move through this shape, cat and cow. I like to exhale like a cat pose, round the spine, chin to your chest, and inhale to lower the belly, lift the gaze. Keep going. And you might change the breath. You might do an opposite breath, or you might add any other kind of movement, a sway side to side or front to back, or a tuck of the toes. I invite you to just to get to notice what's happening in the body, maybe taking some interest in everything that you feel now. If you notice that you don't feel very much, either physically or emotionally, that's okay too. That's normal. Feel free to keep going. Or if you want, you might go up into downward facing dog. I'm gonna open my hands and feet a little wider and lift the hips. You could pedal out the feet, bending one knee and pressing the other foot down. If you want to go back to child's pose, again, I understand. Feel free to tiptoe your feet forward to the top of your mat whenever you're ready, and we can meet in a forward fold to any amount here. So you might have your hands on your shins to prop yourself up, or hands on blocks or a table or something like this. You might even just collapse over your legs and take hands to opposite elbows. Feel free to sway here, or take any other stretches that you like a shoulder stretch. You might even keep the knees slightly bent so that this is not so intensive for the hamstrings. And as you're ready, you can lower the arms and roll back up to standing. Okay, ready for our sun salutation, sort of with jammies. Actually a little different one than I normally do, so feel free to take any other version of this that you like, or alter these in any way, of course. But now I'm going to do inhale, reach up. And exhale, again, folding forward to any amount. As you inhale, you might step your right foot back to a low lunge. And as you exhale, you might step back to your downward dog. So feel free to stay, or if you want, you might take a little flow here, rolling forward to your push-up plank. I'm going to go all the way down to my belly to start, just so I'm easing my way into it. You might inhale and pick up your head and chest, reach your heart forward. Exhale to float it back down. You could even go into child's pose first and stay, or maybe we find downward dog again. On your next inhale, feel free to step your right foot forward. It's okay if you have to use your hand to help. On the exhale, we hop or just bring the other foot to meet it. Inhale, halfway lift, long flat back, hands on the legs. Exhale to fold forward any amount. Softening the knees and just roll up to standing. Again, other side, starting with aiming with the left leg. So inhale, reach up. Exhale, folding forward as much as you want. Inhale, stepping your left foot back to that low lunge. And exhale, meet you in down dog. Feel free to stay here or take a little flow, rolling forward to your plank. Again, you might lower all the way down to your belly. I'm going to take an upward dog this time, but feel free to do cobra. You might straighten your arms all the way, lift your chest, and again roll back into child's pose before you go to downward dog, or whatever. I'll meet you in down dog. On your next inhale, stepping your left foot forward again. Exhale, hop in that front foot, or the back foot to the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And nice and easy, just rolling up to standing. One more time, right and left, same thing, ish, maybe a little different. Okay, inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, right foot back into your lunge. It's okay if the knee goes down too. Exhale, see you in downward dog. And you can stay in downward dog, or you can take a little flow. You might even do a chaturanga, something like this. No pressure. On your next inhale, stepping your right foot forward. This time, feel free to stay here a little bit longer, and you could lower this back knee down as well. I like to put my right hand on my right thigh. And then as I put my left hand down onto block or floor, I twist to the right by pressing down on my thigh. Option to stretch this arm up. But since this is a class about support, I'm just gonna use this hand to press down, help myself twist. Option to keep this back leg lifted off of the mat, of course, and breathe. Let's stay for 3 more breaths. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Okay, so whenever you're ready, coming back to that lunge just so that you can hop your back foot into your front foot. And meet me here in this forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift to any amount. Exhale, folding again, and just gently rolling up to standing. Try the whole thing again on the other side. Inhale, we reach up. Exhale and fold. Inhale, left foot back this time. Exhale, downward dog. And again, option to stay or take a little flow. And just because you did chaturanga last time, doesn't mean you have to do it this time. From your down dog on your next inhale, just stepping the left foot forward. And again, feel free to lower this knee down if you want to, or just because. And I like to again put this left hand on my thigh to help me twist. You could reach this arm up, but this is about, this class I'm focusing on, the theme is support. Supporting ourselves by using our own bodies or other objects. So I'm just gonna stay here, and you can also straighten this back leg if you want. Stay here for like 3 more breaths. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And as you're ready, recentering, you might lift this back knee up just to help you hop back to the front of your mat. And next, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. And gently roll up to standing. Good. This is where we'll use the wall here. So I recommend having, I've got my mat just like a couple inches away from the wall. We're using it for our high lunge twist. Yes, let's do it. Okay, so standing here at the top of your mat, we can take just like a normal flow to get into it. So inhale, reach up. And exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And feel free to take a little flow here or skip it. So using whichever leg is close to the wall. So for me, my right hip is close to the wall, so I'm gonna do my right leg. Step it forward, bending the front knee, keeping the back heel lifted, and lift up to your high lunge. So you're in high lunge, I'm about like 5 inches-ish away from the wall. And if you need to use the wall here for balance, if you're feeling wobbly, totally great. Feel free to stay here or even test out your balance by hovering the hand off of the wall. Or even hands to prayer, stretch the arms up. Stay here for 2 more breaths. So today I invite you to use the wall for your twist. So I'm going to be twisting towards my wall. I'm walking my hands over to the right. One hand reaches back, my right hand's reaching back, left arm forward, and I'm actively gently pressing against the wall to help me stay balanced and also to help me twist. Hopefully you just heard that I was talking to the wall. And breathe. If you want to let go of the wall and test out your balance, feel free. If you'd like to stay here and just enjoy the support, great. As you're ready, untwisting. Inhale, stretch the arms up. And we might go back into downward dog. So just so that we can get onto the other side, this time you can walk your hands back to your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And gently rolling up to standing. So now if we turn around, we have a new front of the mat, and this time we can have the wall for our other leg, whichever that might be. So inhale, stretch up. And exhale, folding forward. Take a flow here, or skip it. I'll see you in down dog. Okay, so now my left leg is closer to the wall, so I'm stepping that one forward. Keeping the back heel lifted, you can use the wall for your high lunge. Yoga in the pajamas. So squaring the hips off to the front as best you can, using the wall if you would like, or testing out arms, go somewhere else. Just stay here for 2 more breaths. And then as you spin towards the wall, feel free to open the arms so that your left arm's reaching back, right arm forward, actively pressing into the wall, especially with this back hand, to help you twist. So we're pushing into the wall. If you want to let go and find a little balance here, that's okay. But again, I'm going to focus on the use of support to deepen our stretches today. So I'm just going to stay here and enjoy for 2 more breaths. And on your next inhale, you can undo the twist and reach the arms up. And I'll see you back into your downward dog. Feel free to take a flow. I won't. But whenever you get to your down dog, again, walking the hands back to the feet. Once you get there, relax over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And just rise up to standing. Okay, so again with the long wall with the long end of the mat, if you need to adjust it, moving the mat closer or farther away, feel free. So blocks nearby might be handy, or even a chair, but we're not going to get to that quite yet. So for your warrior 2, we do have to make space for your butt. So your feet can't literally be all the way against the wall, because then, yeah, there's just no room for your butt. So put your bum against the wall, or whichever part of the wall touches your back first, and you can just open the feet nice and wide. And then let's do right toes facing forward. And as you start to bend your right knee, we can think about rotating the right knee towards the wall, but it might not literally touch. If it does, if the foot and knee touch, then this leg will probably be farther away from the wall. So if you want to just feel the knee pressing against it, it's a good tool to see like, oh, that's what external rotation feels like. Cool. But I'm actually going to even it out a little bit more so that my front heel is in line with my back arch. And I'm using the wall too, so my back is against the wall, and I'm pressing my palms back into it. You can also just do palms facing down and still press back. So as I'm here in my warrior using the wall, I'm feeling my shoulder blades wrap together and down. And you might take your gaze over your right fingertips. It's okay if this back hand doesn't quite reach the wall. And stay for 1 more breath. I'm going to straighten this leg just to give it a break and lower my arms down, rolling out the shoulders a little bit too. Good. So to reverse your warrior, you can go right back into your warrior 2 with the arms wide. Reach this right arm up. This back hand could go on the back leg and stretch. Now I feel more comfortable looking up to the ceiling when I'm doing this reverse warrior because I've got some support with the wall, but still here, reminder to rotate this knee to the right as best you can. And now that you've got something to aim towards, it might be a little easier to figure out. If you notice you're leaning forward here, you might use the wall. Lean back against it even. Stay here for 1 more breath. And whenever you're ready, coming back up to straighten the legs. I'm also gonna make my feet come a little bit closer together for triangle pose. So again, feet probably not up against the wall entirely, but your bum, back-ish there. So as you reach your right arm forward for triangle, pull the hips back and start, just aim high for now with the right hand. As you're more comfortable, you can start to crawl the hand down the leg. And as this top arm lifts to the ceiling, it might also, again, make contact with the wall. You could even press back in whatever way is comfortable. And I love this one against the wall too, because it's just a great reminder. I feel the stretch so much more differently when I'm focusing on the lean back, gentle press of the head against the wall even. You might notice the sensations that you feel just like we did before. So how does the wall feel in the shape? And stay here for one more breath. You might even look up, which I always feel more comfortable doing when I have the wall, because then I'm not worried about falling over. So this is really the only time where I can look up in triangle, and I feel safe and comfortable. Okay, as you're ready, bending this front knee to help you lift back up, and we'll switch sides. So again, using the wall. My neighbors hate me right now. Turn your toes to face forward, and we'll go the other way. So your bum, your back is against the wall, bending the front knee for warrior two. So two options here. So number one, you might aim for the front foot, especially if you're somebody who like rolls the knee forward a lot in warrior two. You might benefit from just this little cue here. So foot, knee, hip against the wall. Now, if that's happening, if this is happening, then the foot has to come away from the wall a little bit too. It's just too hard to not. And then you can just press the thigh against the wall and feel that external rotation and enjoy it. Or we might go for number two, is to walk the foot a little farther away from the wall, scoot this back one back a little bit more, so that I have my front heel in line with my back arch-ish. I'm pressing back against the wall, actively pressing back with my palms. I like to do palms. You might just do palms down and still press back. Stay here for 3 more breaths. You might notice if this feels any differently using the wall. Maybe not, that's okay too. What do you notice about this using the wall? And we come out of this just to give ourselves a little break. I'm gonna roll the shoulders out and straighten the arms. To reverse your warrior, we can just go right back into that warrior two, flipping the left palm up. And as you side bend over the back leg, this back hand can go somewhere as far down the leg as is comfortable. But again, still thinking about this left knee, aiming it towards the wall. And if it's comfortable for you to lean back, you might even be able to find it more comfortable to look up. Staying here for 2 more breaths. Good, and we lift. We lift. I'm gonna move this back foot in just a little bit more for triangle pose. So again, using the wall, I have my bum and my back-ish, my upper back. Reaching forward with the left arm. It comes down. You can start high, and then you can start to climb the hand down. I know this is, we tend to do this a lot in triangles, so that's why I love the wall for this. So come out of the stretch a little bit. You don't have to be very far down. Lean your head and chest back against the wall. So we're pressing against it. Maybe even I'm feeling my fingernails pressing against the wall. My head is too. You might even look up if that feels more secure now. One more breath. And we soften the knee to help us lift back up. Okay, come out of this for a wee bit of a break here. So there's 2 things you might use for support. You can use your chair, or you can use your block. So I'll show one example with the chair on the left side, and I'll show the other example on the other side with the block. So whichever you've got. Okay. Half moon. All right. Okay. this is happening. Half moon. So finally we have baby warrior 2. And you'll want to have space, so you're probably standing with this right foot in the middle of your mat so that you have space for your head and your spine and then your leg, and you won't knock anything over. Okay, so baby warrior 2. I feel my hips against the wall. I reach forward. And I actually already know that I'm gonna need this block a little closer, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, right, and we can get into this very slowly as you lean forward. Place the hand on the block and just hop this back foot in. And feel free to start to lift this leg up to any amount. It might even be as high as the leg. So your foot can't literally, this foot can't literally be against the wall because then there would, again, be no room for your butt. So make space. I'm also leaning my upper back against. I love this version. It's just, this is the only time when I can really like enjoy looking up to my top hand in side moon, so half moon. So I'm also pressing my top shoulder against the wall. Some of you might not even be using a block. Some of you might just have the hand down here. It's okay to have this bottom knee a little bit bent. I recommend externally rotating it though. Two more breaths. And very slowly start to bend the front knee until you lower both feet down and we land in just a gentle forward fold. Okay. So if you don't have blocks, you want a chair or a desk or something like that, it's okay. You can do the same thing on the other side. So start again with a baby warrior 2 with the left foot, or the other foot in the middle of the mat, making space for your bum to be against the wall. Foot won't be exactly against the wall. Trying to keep this knee pointing right over the toes. Lean forward and lean and lean. And once you can put the hand on the chair or the block or whatever, hop this back foot in until all the weight's in your standing left leg. Start to lift the leg to any amount. You might have this leg straight or bent, whatever. You might lift this leg even higher. I'm actively pressing it back against the wall for support. Your hand might be here, and if the chair is too high, you can always bend the elbow to be like, okay, I'm pretending I have a block. If I had a block, I'd be about here, cool. And then I'm also leaning my head and chest back against the wall, top hand pressing as well. I'm able to look up here and without feeling like I'm gonna fall. Feel free to stay here for a few breaths, 3, 4. For me, these poses using the wall, it feels like doing yoga while constantly also being hugged. That's my experience. As you're ready to come out of this, feel free to bend the standing leg and just lower this other leg down until you go into your forward fold. Okay, where are we? So let's do our warm-up balance using the wall before we do the Warrior 3 balance with the wall. So option to just put your hand on the wall. That's definitely gonna be a little bit easier for your, let's do, what are we doing? Let's do just the knee forward, picking the foot up. So that's one thing that you might try. I like to stand close to the wall, about thigh length away from the wall, and I make the same shape, but I use my foot as the balance. So the foot, by the way, is not pressing down because then you'll just fall forward. The foot, I'm flexing the toes and they're pushing into the wall. So I lift my right leg, I put the ball of my foot and I gently press in, and then my hands go to prayer, or if you want to reach them up, whatever. And I even like to feel, as I'm doing this, by pushing my foot into the wall, it helps me engage my abdominals, my core. And then if you wanted to test your balance, you could just hover the foot off of the wall and put it back. Hover, put it back. Just stay here for a few more breaths on your own. Whee! Good thing I had another wall. Okay. As you're ready, feel free to come out of this. We'll reverse to do the other side. All right, whichever side you haven't done. Lifting the knee, foot against the wall. Again, not down with the foot, it's pressing forward to help you scoop in your abs and lift up tall. It might not be this high, by the way. It might also just be more down here. That's okay. You might even hover the foot off of the wall and put it back. And hover, put it back. Okay, I'm coming out of this. As you're ready, shake it out. So, want to use the wall for this sequence. It's going to be a little bit more challenging than usual, and you can use a chair here. So especially, this one can be a little daunting if you don't have anything underneath you. I'm just going to use the wall with my hands pushing forward against it, but you might rather use blocks or even a chair. And if you are using a chair, I like to always we'll make it an extension of the wall by pressing the back of it up against so that it has nowhere to slide. So I can show you the sequence this way. We're doing warrior 3 into a half moon, into a revolved half moon, which sounds scary, and but we have so much support now that I find it a lot more accessible. So standing away from the wall about a half of your body's length and your arms as well. So a spine length and an arm's length if we're using the wall. Or you can go a little closer too if we're using the chair. So first, using the chair, I'll just show you this. With your warrior 3, starting with the feet parallel, you might bend the knees enough so that you can put your hands down on your support, trying to keep your back nice and long and flat, and you could hop this back foot, whichever foot. I'm gonna do my right leg first, and then you might lift the leg up. You might lift a hand and hover, or fall, just testing out your balance, hands to prayer, whatever you'd like. I like to not use the chair. I'm gonna use the wall instead. So I have to scoot a little farther backward, about spine and arm's length. So I'm putting my fingertips and hands up against the wall, leaning forward, lifting into warrior 3. It's okay if this bottom knee is bent. When I'm pressing actively against the wall to help me deepen my abdominals. If you want to let go of the wall and test out your balance, that's fine too, but I'm just going to enjoy the support. After a couple attempts at this or a few breaths, feel free to come out of this and give it a little bit of a break. Okay, so we've done warrior 3, we've got our half moon. We'll move from warrior 3 into your half moon, and then we'll take it into your revolved. So again, using the chair, if that's your jam, we're here. We either, as you open into half moon, just like we had the wall, use your hand down for support, or if you've got your fingertips or hands on the wall, keep reaching forward from your warrior 3, open the hips, stack one on top of the other, and center your left hand more like in line with your nose, and then you can take this top arm here or even up to the ceiling. If I send my weight farther back, I can even hover my hand off of the wall and balance. You might even have the support to look up. Not today, not today. And feel free to come back to your warrior 2 or 3, and then relax. Let's try the other side. So, warrior 3, I'm actually not gonna use I'll just leave it there. Okay, so warrior 3, hands to the chair or not. So lifting this other leg up as high as feels comfortable. It's okay if this knee is bent, doesn't really matter. Either hands to the chair blocks or fingertips. Now my weight is still in my standing foot, so the weight is here. If I were to let go of the wall, I don't want to fall forward. Still actively pressing against it, but I can let go at any point. The wall is just there for comfort and support, which this side I always need because my right hip is a little wonky. And after a couple of breaths, feel free to come out of this, shake it out. Hard stuff's almost over, I think. Is it? Yeah. Sort of. Okay. Let's try it again with our half moon. So this time I will be not facing you. I'll have to face the wall, which is whatever. Back to your warrior 3, blocks, chair, or fingertips, and then try to find, especially for this half moon, try to find a nice long line from your hips, your shoulders, and your hands. And then as you stack the hips, bringing the right hand more to the center of where the nose is. So we've got a long line. This other hand can go to your hip or up. And as you're ready coming out of this, lots of half moons today. Feel free to try a revolved one with me. I'll do it going to the right first, just so that you can see this one. I actually do like a chair for this one, but I'll show you both still. So my revolved half moon is very, very minimal. You might be able to twist a lot more than I can, and that's okay. So as I'm doing, I'm going this way. So I'm gonna do my left leg up, whichever's closest to my wall. Using my hands on the chair, again, nice long fat flat, nice long flat back. Oh my gosh. And then stretching this left leg out long. So this knee can be bent, especially for this twisted version. For now, the toes will be facing down, and you can put your right hand on your hip and just twist the chest to the right. And this might be as far as you go. Another option, you might do the same thing with our Warrior 3 shape. Reach the left arm forward to the wall, other hand on your back, lower back or sacrum, and twist. Some of you might be able to reach this arm up to the ceiling. I cannot. And then as you're ready, feel free to come out of this. I'll do the other side. So my right leg is lifted. Okay, and I'm moving my right hand in for support. Left hand to my hip and just twisting. And or using the wall. Pressing against the wall as you reach the back heel back. And come back out. Whew, that is hard. Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna move the chair out of the way. Move it totally out of the way. Let's take a child's pose, because that's a lot. That was a lot. Or of course, feel free to lay on your back or just sit, whichever you'd like. Stay as you are. Start to slow down your breathing. Let's stay here for about a minute more. So moving into our locust and bow, I have misplaced my strap. It is somewhere. I have another. You can also I'm just gonna use the towel actually so that I can show you. So I have this longer towel. You fold it into a very long hot dog, and it's here next to the mat. We can lay down on your belly this time. Okay, and first just for locust, to warm up your own strength without using the support, first stretch your arms back by your body, and then as you're ready, lifting everything as you can, everything that you want to off of the mat. So you might lift your head and chest and your legs, or maybe just the head and chest, or maybe the arms too. Stay here for one more breath, inhale. And as you exhale, lowering all the way down. Okay, for bow, and if you want to do the bow pose, just taking a hold of the feet, like some of you might already be doing before, that's okay. I'm actually going to use the strap today, just because I just actually feel it a little bit differently when I use the strap. So if you reach back and keep your feet and knees about hip width distance, if you hook the strap over your feet in front of the pointed toes, and have your palms facing down or even out a little bit, and if you like to come with me for your bow, you kick your feet back into your strap to help lift your chest and thighs. Now if you'd like, I can already feel my towel wants to slip, so I'm going to go to flex my feet and hook them in the ankle crease instead. And I press back and I lift my thighs and my chest. And after you stay for a couple breaths, you can come out of it on your own. feel free to rest with the head supported however you'd like for just a moment to slow down your breathing again. And pressing back to your child's pose. Okay, so for your quad stretch, the version I'll teach of this today, which of course you can do any other version that you know, version I'll teach of this today involves a pillow, a towel, / blanket, and a chair, and the wall. Okay, so I'm putting my chair right up against the wall so that I know it's not gonna go anywhere. Right? You good? Okay. And then have this towel here over the edge just for comfort, draping it over the front edge. And then I'm using this pillow, or if you have any other sort of support that's comfortable. This pillow might be a bit much actually. I'm gonna do this pillow. Okay, so it's in front of the chair. If you're not sure how far away you'll need it, you can also make it long. But for your quad stretch, this is the version that I'm gonna go for today, which is one that I typically don't actually do, but I've kind of been into lately. Okay, so you step 1 foot forward in front, and it's basically the same like a kneel. So if you imagine that you're just gonna kneel down, that's basically what it'll be, except we'll have 1 foot up on the support. I'm also using my hand here up against this wall to help, but you also might have a ladder or there's lots of things you could use, a desk. And as you slowly start to bend the front knee, lower this back knee down if you need to adjust this foot further forward. And so the chair and the wall and the towel, they're helping us to stretch the quad. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. So one thing, if you want a little bit less, you can also just bring the knee farther away from the chair. So away is a little bit less, because that means the foot is coming less close to your bum. And you can stay here with the hands down or even on blocks. You can lift your chest up with your hands on your thighs or even here. If you wanted a little bit more with this stretch, you might wiggle this knee back a little bit more so that this thigh is more perpendicular to the ground. And then as you lift your chest, this might be plenty, or option to even put the hands back behind you on the seat of the chair. And this can also sort of be done against a couch as well, so you can I like to lean back my chest a little bit, and the more my heel is going to my bum, the more I feel this. Stay for like 3 more breaths. Okay, to come out of this, I personally don't like to lift back up from here. I like to actually just scoot this foot out of the way and then come up to standing, because we would actually have to use it to lift. I'm gonna reset. I'm going to change to the other side. So now my left foot is in front of the pillow support, right foot is hooked on top, and I'm lowering this right knee down. You can adjust to be farther away, or you can be a little bit closer. You could even put your hands on and lift your chest. I also like to curl my pelvis under, so like cow spine more here is typically what I do, but if you find the opposite, cat spine, as you lift your chest or bring your hands behind you, I feel it a lot more. So stay for, let's say, a total of 5 breaths. And whenever you're ready, rocking the hands forward, and I'm just gonna wiggle this foot out of the way to help me lift back up to standing. And we can strike our set here. So let me move the chair out of the way. Okay. For our forward fold, so you might use a strap. I'm actually going to bring my mat closer to the wall. So now, and for some of you, if you only have the use of the one wall for the practice today, you might just now adjust it or like change the mat, whatever. I'm turning this way so that you can see me, but either way, the short end of your mat is now going up against the wall. And you can sit on a pillow or blocks. For our forward fold, we're using some support here to help us lean into the stretch. But for some of you, if you're especially particularly tight in the hamstrings, you might have quite bent knees. So what tends to happen is we focus on the straight legs and then we like round back like this. So use the wall as our guide, as the priority. So I'm wedging my tail up against the wall, and I'm lifting back, spine up against, maybe some of you even put the back of your head against the wall, and then keeping your spine up against, and I'm even pushing my hands down to help that stay. Start to walk your feet further away from you. And some of you might already be feeling a stretch here. And then maybe some of you walk your feet even farther. The minute you start to round like this, you might have gone too far, so it's okay to take a step back, recenter. So, however, if you wanted to take this, if some of you, for example, are able to straighten your legs all the way, if you scoot all the way, a little bit away from the wall, I like to use the wall for support. So, before we do that though, if we're up against the wall and you can get with straight legs, this still might be enough of a stretch. So pressing down, lifting your back against the wall, pressing the head, keeping the legs straight, this might be plenty. If you want to press yourself into it, I like to give myself a little bit of space. And then I walk my hands just a little bit up the wall as I press my spine forward. And this is just my favorite thing. The higher your hands climb, first of all, it's only so high that it can go because the shoulders might be limited. You can go to fingertips if that helps. You could scoot a little closer to the wall if you need to. Stay as you are for 3 more breaths, whatever you're trying. Okay, and we lift up to seated. Same thing, but for a little bit different for the butterfly. So again, this is where I actually can be quite tight. So with the bottoms of the feet together and the knees open to the side, some of you might not even need the support. I definitely do. You can sit on a block or even a pillow to give you some lift. And again, some of you might just be pressing down, lifting your chest up against the wall, and you might feel a stretch already. That's plenty. If you want, I have, this one's particularly weird for me. I only really ever feel it when I use the wall in this way. So again, I'm trying to lean forward, but I can only go so far because of my hip rotation. So I climb my hand up the wall. This one I need to scoot a little further away. I climb my hands up the wall, and I just press in and down. So my hands are pressing on a low diagonal so that my spine can lean forward. Crawling up higher isn't better. It actually might mean that you just round more. So I like to aim low and press down to lift my chest. And stay for 4 more breaths. As you're ready, feel free to come out of this. So a similar stretch. I actually have to change to this wall because my legs won't do this. But now we'll do a straddle split. So this is another one that's pretty difficult for me to get into without using the wall. So I'm putting my back against a longer wall. You might just need to adjust your position. You might sit on a block as well or a pillow. Okay, so I'm wedging my bum up against the wall. First, you might just be here, and some of you might even be more here, just pressing your hands down. That's fine. You might feel a stretch here if you're able to scoot your legs up farther so that they are straight, or even wiggle them farther back. Lots of different folks out there. And again, I like to press my hands up against the wall to help me lean forward. I even sometimes like to sort of straighten one arm and bend the other so that I'm moving through this middle space. It just changes the stretch for me. Also, if you're already very close to the wall and you need to make your arms less bent, you can also just like open your hands a little wider. That way they have less space. Stay here for 3 more breaths. Good, okay. One more thing while we're doing our side split. This time I have to turn around to face the wall. So, rotate this whole thing 180 degrees, that you're facing this way, and I probably will need a strap for this one as well. I'm going to use my towel, just assuming that y'all don't have straps. Alright, so here we go. I'm turning around. Now I'm doing the same shape, but with my feet up against the wall, and then I scoot towards it as much as I feel comfortable. Okay, so for our side bend, this is a partner pose that I actually, this is so funny. This is a partner pose that I actually do. This can be done with partners, but there's a very simple way to recreate it if you don't have a partner, which we can just put the strap over, let's say, the right foot, and if you take a hold of it with your left hand, so again, it's the left hand taking it over the right strap foot, and then trying to sort of side bend over to the left. So I'm realizing now that this towel isn't actually quite long enough, so I'm going to take a longer towel. A pair of leggings, stretchy pants also works. They can be adjusted to be a little bit longer. Or if you're just using a belt or a yoga strap, that's okay. So I've got my hook, right arm up, and I side bend over to the left. And the wall here prevents my right foot from scooting forward. And I'm gently pulling against this strap so that instead of being collapsed down here like we often are in our side bend, I'm able to square the shoulders off to the front more. Stay here for a couple more breaths. Oh, okay. And then moving on to the other side, I will use my strap for this one, just so that you can see it a little bit more easily. Okay. Switching sides, strap around left foot now, or whichever. And you can bring the arm as close to the foot as is comfortable, with the arm staying more or less straight. Left arm up. And as you side bend over, my hand can slide down the strap a little bit, and that's okay. And I gently pull against the strap to help keep my shoulders square. And I can also just sort of like hang out. Part of the strap allows me to just sort of like rest in it. Stay for a couple more breaths. Okay. And we lift back up. Okay. So much crap here. Now I'm going to, we'll move into using the wall for our shoulder stand. So, it is very important. When your hips are up, you look up to the ceiling and you stay there. So definitely do not turn your head. If you need to, you might first watch me and then do the thing. All right, I'm gonna give myself a little more cushion, a little more layer of towel. Because my mat is a little thin. So for, what are we doing? Okay. So for, you don't have to do the shoulder stand, by the way. There's more we can do that we're gonna do before and even after that. So this is kind of funny to get into, but you have to sort of scoot close to the wall with your bum. So this is the easiest side for me. My left side is against, and then you just lower your body down. I'm gonna do my right side, and then once you're down here, you can flip over onto your back, and that way your hips are still close to the wall-ish. If you need to adjust, you can. And the feet can be on the wall. So I'm gonna take my ponytail out. So you look up to the ceiling. Watch me first. You can press your feet against the wall to curl your pelvis under, roll the spine one bone at a time, and you can lift to any amount. You don't have to lift very high. This feels like a great big spinal massage to me. I love it. And I'm just gonna go up and down like 5 times. And if you find that you need to bring your feet a little higher for more support, or a little lower, or bring your body farther away, this will just depend on you. Maybe one more time. I've scooted a little bit too far. So if you wanted to take this into a shoulder stand and just hold it, you can. So feel free to just do the same thing and just do the same thing, up and down, or just stay here with your legs up against the wall is another option. Maybe let's say 2. Option 3, for your shoulder stand, use the wall to get into it, and then you can let go if you want. So again, first, you might want to watch me. Arms go down, you look up, and you press and curl your spine up, and you lift. And I like to walk my feet a little bit higher once I get there. This helps me push my feet forward against the wall so that I can stack the shoulders underneath, and then clasp my hands underneath my hips. Press that back of your head into the mat, and then I'm a little farther away, so I'm going to come up to my tippy toes. You could just lift one leg, you could lift both, but it's a very comfy, supportive way to get into it, I find. To get out of it, we'll go the very same way. I'll stay here for another breath or 2. To get out of this, we're just putting one foot, both feet back down, feet against the wall, and lower your arms down, and roll back down, just like we did. For legs up the wall, which is this. Legs up the wall. We're already doing it. Cool. You can just stay here and breathe. Option to put your hands, maybe one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Some people like to really activate the legs. I personally just like to let them relax. You might want a little pillow under your head. So feel free to stay here breathing, noticing your breathing and whatever else for about a minute. Actually, a little bit less than a minute. So you can stay, or for your supported pigeon here using the wall again. If you might be too close to the wall, so you sort of have to test yourself out. Some of you are more flexible in the hip, and you can go already with the right ankle in front of the left knee, and then bend the left knee so that the foot comes down along the wall, and then this is just helping. That way you don't have to hug the shape in. You can just have the wall do that work for you. And then since that's doing that work, you can actually just press your thigh away from you and even rock the shape a little bit. But if this is like, oh, this is way too much, whoops, you might just need to roll over to the side, adjust to scoot farther away from the wall, and lie back down again, and flip over. So this way, farther away, our feet can be more what is this, right angle? And same thing, right ankle over the left knee. If it's still too close, you can just scoot farther backwards. You can stay with the foot against the wall and or press the thigh away. And stay for like 3 more breaths. As you're ready, changing sides. Now, your sides might be a little asymmetrical, that's normal. So if you need to scoot closer or farther away for this leg, that's okay. If you're closer to the wall, again, you might start with a straight leg first, up the wall just so that you have more space, and then just slowly bend the knee until the foot comes as far down as you feel comfortable, to have a stretch here, you might press this left thigh away. More breaths. As you're ready, either straightening on the leg to bring the whole shape farther away from you, or just coming out of it however feels natural, rolling over onto your side to help you lift up. So the thing is about time is that I technically only have 3 more minutes, and I actually really want to finish these last couple of things. So feel free to stay with me a little longer, or if you need to come back to this part later or redo the class another time, it's here for you. For your supine butterfly, I'm gonna use some pillows for a supported butterfly, or kind of almost like even a fish pose. And actually, no, I need this other one a little farther back for my head. Okay. I'll show you this. This can also be done with a towel, and I can show you for like a little bit less, but if you just bring your feet to Baddha Konasana butterfly, or the legs can also be straight as well, it's just another option here, so whichever, butterfly or straight. Hips are down and your sacrum is against your stack of pillows, and we just roll down, adjusting the pillows as needed, so that your head and back and everything is supported. And then you can lower the arms down or out or whatever. So feel free to stay there if you're using pillows. I'll show you maybe a couple other things if you don't. Let's see. Let's say you only have a towel and you still want to do a back opener. You might just roll the towel up long ways. So it's a couple, maybe 3 inches thick. And then you could put it right underneath the shoulder blades. Right underneath the tips of the shoulder blades, and do have space here. Open the arms to the side. But the chest is lifting, maybe you're in butterfly or the legs straight. So you can stay as you are. If the butterfly pose starts to feel uncomfortable for your knees or your hips, feel free to come back to the center whenever you're ready, or just straighten the legs back out. If this ever becomes too much for your spine, you can always just like skip this whole thing, move everything out of the way, and just lay down on your back for just a normal savasana. We'll be here for about a minute. Just a reminder that there's no way that you're supposed to be right now. If you disagree with me, that's something to keep in mind, just to notice. But I don't think that there's any other way for you to be right now. However you're feeling, I gave you permission to feel it or think it or whatever it is. There's no need to change anything. And again, feel free to stay for a little longer or even transition to Shavasana without support. So I come out of this, I'm lifting my chin to my chest, using my hands against my legs and the floor to help lift back up. I'm going to crisscross applesauce with my shins and just round my spine forward for a moment to counter stretch. And then feel free to have a seat, however you'd like. However is comfortable. We'll just be here for another minute or two, so if you're pressed for time, sorry. Option to place one hand on your chest and then the other hand crossed over. or one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, if you'd like, if it's interesting for you. And pretty much all it is sit right now, notice how you're feeling, in the thoughts, the feelings, the body, whatever, and just don't change it. You can find self-love by creating space for ourselves to be with whatever experience we have, and the content of our thoughts and feelings might not always be so malleable, which is why we go to therapy, friends. That's why we go to therapy, to learn to work on some of that. But for now, and pretty much always, you're absolutely fine and acceptable wherever you are. Feel free to stay a little bit longer. I'm gonna turn off the camera. Thank you for joining me. Happy solo Valentine's Day, or all day, every day, showing our self-love. Thanks for joining me. Okay, bye.